nuclear-capable bombers flew very close to Alaska. Air Force scrambled jets. This is according to Fox News. A pair of Russian nuclear-capable bombers flew near Alaska Monday night. 2 U.S. officials told Fox News, coming as close as 100 miles from Kodiak Island. The first time since President Trump took office that Moscow has sent bombers so close to the U.S. The 2 Russian Tu-95 Bear bombers flew roughly 280 miles southwest of Elmendorf Air Force Base within the air defense and identification zone of the U.S. The U.S. Air Force scrambled 2 F-22 stealth fighter jets and an E-3 airborne early warning plane to intercept the Russian bombers. The American jets flew alongside the Russian bombers for 12 minutes before the Russian bombers reversed course and headed back to their base in eastern Russia. Last week in Moscow, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said U.S.-Russian relations were at a low point while sitting next to Russian Foreign Sergei Lavrov. I'm already ready to get to the next one here. Mikhail Gorbachev. For those of you guys who are members of our exclusive section, you know this name. You should know this name if you've paid attention and followed along throughout the Club of Rome series. This guy is extremely influential to the United Nations because he's a Club of Rome member. I'm telling you, please sign up. We have a lot to share with you. It's been 8 episodes so far. We're working on the 9th one. We have 1 more after that. And this entire series has been bombshell after bombshell. These special interest groups that influence the United Nations, this is where the agenda comes from. And you can't afford to miss it. Sign up today, $1.50 per month, description box, check it out. Last leader of the Soviet Union. This guy is a leader of the Soviet Union, and he is extremely influential to the United Nations. What does that say? Mikhail Gorbachev warns Moscow and the West are heading towards a new Cold War as NATO and Russian troops stand nose to nose. No. Nope. You know why it's a no? Because, as we mentioned earlier, the Industrial Revolution and the World War, they're linked. They're pushing a world war. They're trying to bring one about. We've known this for a long time. We just haven't exactly always been able to figure out why. And people will say, of course, it's about money. But it's about more than that. Mikhail Gorbachev has warned that all the indicators of a Cold War are there. Former Russian leader says an arms race is currently underway in Europe. He called on the leaders of Russia and Europe to restore trust with one another. The former Russian leader, whose resignation marked the end of the Soviet Union, said increasingly militant politicians are putting relations into a deep freeze. If both sides fail to halt the slide, he warned, then anything is possible. Of course anything is possible. We're on the cusp of World War III. But exactly when it will take place, who knows? You see, there's a lot of distractions going on. There's a lot of propaganda being pushed, and we got to pay attention to it. Russia and China prepare for a catastrophe. North Korea is on alert, and the U.S. plans to shoot down the next missile test. Whether they will actually shoot it down or not remains to be seen. We could be witnessing a lot of rhetoric from Trump. We'll see if he backs it up. The United States military is rapidly preparing for war with North Korea. Meanwhile, so are Russia and China. But who are the 2 superpowers preparing for war with? Are they preparing to fight North Korea with the U.S., or are they trying to prepare to fight the U.S.? You see, North Korea happens to have deals with both China and Russia. China recently sent droves of military equipment, medical personnel, and forces to regions surrounding the Yalu River, as seen below, in preparations for what appears to be a rapidly approaching catastrophe. The video I just said, as seen below, it's on the post that I've just posted about a couple hours ago on our website. Go to ChristianTruther.com. It'll be the first post you see. Also, Russia just placed air defenses, including S-400, S-300, and the Pantsir S systems, on high alert for drills. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, the actual quote from them is, "Within the framework of the final inspection during the winter training period, air defense units of the aerospace forces stationed in the Moscow region have been put on high alert. S-300, S-400, and Pantsir S air defense systems are taking part in the drills," the ministry said in a statement. Meanwhile, the U.S. is mulling over shooting down the next North Korean missile test, according to 2 sources, as quoted by The Guardian, who were briefed on the matter. One U.S. official said the prospective shoot-down strategy would be aimed at occurring after a nuclear test, with the objective being to signal Pyongyang that the U.S. can impose military consequences for a step Donald Trump has described as unacceptable. Both sources said the military was not considering the use of a high-profile missile defense system the U.S. is providing to South Korea, known as the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD. THAAD's 200-kilometer range and sophisticated radar have unnerved China, whose President Xi Jinping has been coaxed by Trump into pressuring North Korea. On the flip side, North Korea is warning of thermonuclear war. We also have their quotes in a video. You'll want to come check that out as well. Go to ChristianTruther.com. A senior North Korean official has accused the USA of turning the Korean Peninsula into the world's biggest hotspot and creating a dangerous situation in which a thermonuclear war may break out at any moment. These are their quotes. I'm not saying this. This is them. Now again, we have to be very careful. They push a lot of rhetoric. Are they actually going to back their rhetoric, or are we going to see an entire de-escalation of the crisis? But there's more. To make matters much worse, North Korea is threatening to test missiles weekly. Whether or not they will carry those out remains to be seen. However, one thing is sure. The next missile test is expected to take place on or around April 25th, 2017. That's just in a few days. The day the North Korean military marks the anniversary of its founding. The last missile test that they attempted was supposedly cyber-attacked by the U.S. because it failed to launch. Now, whether or not that's true, who knows? Only time will tell just how all of this plays out, but one thing is certain. With tensions this high around the world, if cooler heads cannot prevail, and soon the likelihood of war grows ever more prevalent. Why is there so much tension right now? I was under the impression, and of course I'm stating from a hypothetical standpoint, I was under the impression that according to Donald Trump, we were going to see America first, not America in war, over and over and over again. You see, this rhetoric that we're seeing from the Trump administration, it happens to fulfill the multipolar world order that the globalists have brought about. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, multipolarity. Phase 4 is the New World Order. A multipolar world system cannot last for very long. There are too many superpowers, and of course, everybody's tense. This tension, it can't last. A mistake's going to be made. Of course, it would be a calculated, strategic mistake, if you would. North Korea has drastically increased in military might as of late. And just recently, we had Russia come out and get upset with the U.S. calling us the aggressor and so on and so forth. But there's a reason for that. There may be a reason Russia is shouting at the U.S. rather than the hermit state. Oil. In 2014, Russia wiped away roughly 90% or $10 billion of North Korea's debt. And why? Russia made the deal to build a gas pipeline to South Korea across the reclusive state. The State Duma lower house on Friday, April 18, 2014, ratified a 2012 agreement to write off the bulk of North Korea's debt. It said the total debt stood at $10.96 billion as of September 17, 2012. Both Russia and China are lifelines to North Korea, but China is blocking imports from North Korea and to Russia. On Monday, March 6, 2017, Kremlin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov said, "Of course, we are profoundly concerned. These actions lead to further escalation of tensions in the region. In this situation, Moscow traditionally calls on all parties to show restraint. Russia will exchange views with all parties concerned," reports Russian state news agency TASS. Russia publicly acknowledged it plans to discuss with the North Korean situation with Japan. Being that the two world superpowers play a role in aiding the hermit state and the fact that both countries are actively harassing the U.S. deployment of ships, is it possible a global crisis could spark from the Korean crisis? Only time will tell, but what is evident is the fact that there is a much bigger plan at play here. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. But we've got more. The new Cold War inside Russia's top secret Arctic base, which Vladimir Putin has filled with nuclear-armed warplanes and reindeer-riding special forces. I kid you not. It is insane. Vladimir Putin has his eyes set on starting a new Cold War by opening a top-secret military base in the Arctic. The giant complex on the northern ice cap is believed to be fully armed with missile systems and nuclear-ready fighter jets, and Russian economists reckon it could hold the key to the Kremlin unearthing almost $24 trillion of oil and gas buried deep beneath the snow, the Times reports. Moscow yesterday released the first pictures of the giant Arctic trefoil complex on the Arctic island of Alexandra Land, where temperature can drop to negative 50 degrees Celsius. More than 150 troops will be based at the clover-shaped compound, which is decked out in the red, white, and blue of the Russian flag. And more worryingly, Moscow's defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, confirmed, I think that's how you say that, nuke-ready Su-34 fighter jets will be deployed at a nearby airbase. We are under attack. The mainstream media is getting desperate. The old media is dying. And they're not going anywhere without a fight. We must weather the storm. We have something they don't. You. We need your help. Become a member of the Christian Truther for $1.50 per month, using the discount code in the description to support us in this fight, and get access to all of our unlimited content. God bless you, and thank you.